The Elite 11 finals kick off on the West Coast tomorrow. There, future Signal callers will show off in hopes of being named MVP. Past quarterbacks at this event include the newly contracted Trevor Lawrence, the soon-to-be contracted Tua Tagovailoa, also guys you might have heard of like Bryce Young, Jalen Hurts, Tim Tebow, perhaps. So now that we've fully hyped up the event, let's bring Blair back on here. Blair, we always appreciate you because you are both a host and you put on your analyst hat. We're putting your analyst hat on here because you are headed to Elite 11. Don't have to go too far, though. Let's start with the basics. What are the Elite 11 finals?
It's the premier quarterback event of the year. It happens every summer. It's been going on for decades now, and I think it's a bucket list item for a lot of these quarterbacks trying to get to the Elite 11 finals. It's a 3-day event. It's a competition, and they do a variety of drills, a variety of workouts. The first one is more of a warm-up. They have a throwing competition, a rail shot as they call it. It's kind of an end zone throw, and they eliminate them one by one as the guys keep throwing the football, and if they complete it, they stay alive. If they don't complete it the way they need to complete that throw, they get eliminated. There's a winner that night. Day 2 is usually the pro day. It's a scripted 20-throw gauntlet of sorts. It's kind of mirrors to what these quarterbacks will do when they prepare for the NFL draft in a few years. And then day 3 is a 7-on-7 as well as an accuracy challenge. And they name an Elite 11 as well as an MVP from the overall week. And it's a body of work as well. They also track junior film. They track how these quarterbacks are able to do off the field in their board talks and their chalk talks. So I think it's an evaluation tool that not only the Elite 11 but obviously the scouts are able to use as well. It's a huge moment for a lot of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, you see Trevor Lawrence throwing the football there, Jalen Hurts, Tua Tagovailoa. These are not just names that I was lucky enough to pull from the archives, Blair. The list goes on and on. And if we can, I'd like to show that full screen again and read you just some quick stats on the prolific quarterbacks that have come through the Elite 11 finals. 27 of 32 NFL starters from this past season attended an Elite 11 finals or regional. Check this out. 16 of the last 17 quarterbacks to win the Heisman Trophy attended a finals or regionals. Why is this event such a big deal for quarterbacks, Blair?
I think it allows them to measure themselves against other quarterbacks. C.J. Stroud a few years ago was one of the top uncommitted players in the country, but really was in a way kind of under the radar, hadn't really been on the map as much as he should have been, and he goes and really performs well and kind of explodes on the map, and obviously ends up at Ohio State, and now is arguably one of the better young quarterbacks in the NFL. So this is an event that allows them to catapult themselves heading into their senior season. And before social media really exploded, it was a way for a lot of these quarterbacks to gather in one place and see up close what they had heard about some other quarterbacks in the country, maybe some other ones that had more offers than they did, or the other quarterbacks that were committed to bigger schools than they were. Now everyone knows everyone. Everyone's on social media, sending text messages and, sharing their likes and being able to see each other at various showcases and camps. But now this is an event where they can go and really compete and really measure themselves up against the other quarterbacks that are in similar shoes and similar positions as they are. And then right now with NIL being such a big thing, so prominent in the college football recruiting landscape, it allows these players to market themselves and be a quarterback that maybe attracts other players to play with them and help recruit. We mentioned off the top of the show, Bell saying that he wants to start recruiting for Texas. Well, this is going to be an opportunity for a lot of these quarterbacks, 18 of the 20 that are already committed, to start making headlines and to start recruiting other players and saying, hey, look, you want to come catch passes from a player that's at the Elite 11 finals. Hey, lineman, do you want to come block for me? Look what I'm doing out in LA. I think it's evolved into that as well.
You mentioned how this is such an important evaluation tool, especially for the quarterbacks. It's that position that you really need to see in person, especially when they're playing all across the country against varying levels of competition. So how does this affect the scouting process, both from the college standpoint and from what we do here internally with our scouting team at 24/7?
It makes it easier because, 20 of the top quarterbacks in the country are all throwing side by side and oftentimes rep after rep. So you're able to see how one ball comes out of someone's hand and how the other quarterback right after him maybe tweaks or maybe changes the trajectory of his ball or the arm talent, the speed, the zip, how they're able to spin it. I think it's invaluable really for our scouting department to be able to see that throw for throw, how some of these guys measure up against each other. And then on the other flip side of things too, I think it allows a lot of programs to evaluate these prospects and say, okay, maybe we can expect this guy to come in the spring and really compete for a starting job, or maybe they see some of the film or some of the tape and they say, okay, maybe he's more of a developmental guy, maybe he's not what we thought he might be when we took that commitment. So across the board, I think it's an evaluation tool for our scouting department, for these college programs that have taken commitments, and I think it really allows these quarterbacks to differentiate themselves and really kind of stamp themselves as the best in the country.
Yeah, quite a few coming in uncommitted as well. You mentioned the NIL component. You can literally make yourself a lot of money going to this event and showing up and showing out. Okay, now that we've established what the Elite 11 finals are, let's go ahead and pop up the list of participants. Blair, go one by one. No, I'm just kidding. Give me some highlights. Who are some names that you're watching in this year's group?
I'm going to give you three. So Husan Longstreet, the first one I want to lead off with, Texas A&M commit from Corona Centennial out in California. We saw him a long time ago at the first regional event in Los Angeles. So I think from a recency bias, we maybe forgot what Husan Longstreet can do, but he can really spin it. I'm excited to see what he's going to be able to do down the field, because we know he's got one of the strongest arms in America. We want to see a little bit more touch, maybe a little bit more loft, and some finesse to his game. This is going to be a great platform for him to be able to continue to hone in on his throwing mechanics. We're excited about the type of player he is athletically and what he's going to be able to do in that Texas A&M offense. But from an arm talent standpoint, where will he stack up with some of the other quarterbacks in America? Camario Taylor is a player that I saw in the 7-on-7 circuit earlier this year. He's committed to Mississippi State. He was the first phone call that new head coach Jeff Levy made when he took over the job, and he's stuck by that commitment. UCF's been a school that's been pushing for him. There's been a number of other programs that have continued to recruit him, but he's pretty locked in with Mississippi State. And when you look at him in person, Emily, he looks like Cam Newton out there. He looks like a big, hulking pass catcher or a tight end, but then you see him throw the football, and then you see exactly why he's going to be here in Los Angeles this week at the Elite 11 Finals. He can really spin it. He's got really good touch on the deep ball. He can fit it into tight windows. I'm excited to really see what he can kind of show on a national platform. And then Julian Lewis is the other one that I wanted to highlight, the 5-star quarterback from Georgia who's committed to USC. Everything's been about his recruitment, taking official visits to this school and that school. He's going actually to Colorado right after he finishes the Elite 11 Finals in LA, has already taken his official visit to USC, and he seems pretty locked into the Trojans, but he's still kind of hearing what other schools have to say. So I want to see, okay, how motivated are you? How focused are you on the field? Because his recruitment has obviously been a whirlwind. He's got all the talent in the world. He's got all the tools that you look for in a quarterback. He's been, in a way, hand-chosen by Lincoln Riley to be the guy in this 2025 class. I want to see him put it all together after seeing him really shine in the 7-on-7 circuit earlier this year. How is he going to kind of, build off of that this summer? It's going to be really exciting to see him and kind of what he can put together on the field.
And speaking of Julian Sayin was last year's Elite 11 Finals MVP. So Blair, there's one more question left to ask. Who wins it this year?
Tavian St. Clair has to be the favorite, I think, heading into the week. He's a top-rated quarterback in that field. He's also headed to Ohio State, just like Julian Sayin now is. He's commit to Alabama at the time when he was at the Elite 11 Finals. But I think Tavian St. Clair has everything you look for in an event like this. arm talent, composure, mechanics, the ability to throw on the run, either left or to his right, the timing, the accuracy, and I think he's just going to be able to put it all together. Now, I do say he is the favorite. I'm not going to call him the winner. I'm not gonna put myself out there, Emily, because I'm gonna have to rub elbows with these guys for the next 3 days. But I do think that heading into the week, you have to assume and you have to think that Tavian Sinclair should be the favorite to be at the top of the list.
You mentioned it, rubbing elbows and also bringing you great coverage. We have expansive coverage from Elite 11 finals this week. We'll have daily recaps from all the action. And tomorrow, the football recruiting podcast with Andrew Ivins and Cooper Patagna. They'll be live from LA. Plus, we will interview that MVP quarterback live on Thursday. All of that can be seen right here on your favorite YouTube channel, 24/7 Sports.